Let's continue. So we know that spironolactone, amyloride, and trimethoprim. So these are going to spare the potassium. Okay. So now let's see the trimethoprim. So we have the structure. So it seems like it will have the basic nucleus pteridine. Yeah, it's have the basic nucleus pteridine by the fusion of two pyrimidazole, then followed by pyrazine. Okay. So if you draw the structure, let's draw the structure. So it will have almost, let's draw properly, it will have almost one pyrimidine nucleus. So to this we are going to see the attachment of two amine groups. So then followed by pyrazine. So to this pyrazine we have aromatic nucleus, then amine. So okay, this entire will becomes 6 phenyl. So it will become 6 phenyl pteridine. So 6 phenyl pteridine. The position of amines are 247 triamine. So this about the position of the amines. So the entire iupactane will become 6 phenyl pteridine 2 comma 4 comma 7 triamine. So okay, very nice. So from here we are going to take the basic nucleus as pteridine. So this will becomes pyrazine nucleus, and this will becomes pyrimidine. Okay, so it is a pyrimidine, this is a pyrimidine, and this is followed by the pyrazine. So both the fusion we are going to get a pteridine nucleus, where we are going to see the attachment of 2 phenyl. So that's a 6 phenyl a pteridine. So 2 comma 4 comma 7 triamine. Let's see the mechanism where and how it's going to do its action. So we have the word for a triamterina. Its action is going to block, epithelial sodium channel. What it's going to do, it's going to block directly epithelial sodium channel, where it's going to present on the lumen side, on the lumen side of collecting tubule of the kidney. So this is the position of your epithelial sodium channel. The triamterene go and act on this. Our triamterene is going to act on this and inhibit its action by blocking its mechanism. So other diuretics, what it's going to do, cause a decrease in the sodium concentration of forming urine due to the entry of sodium into the cells via epithelial sodium channel. So other diuretics action, if you see, and the concomitant excitant of potassium from the principal cell into the forming urine. So here blocking epithelial sodium channel prevents this from happening. Okay, amyloride works in the same way. We know that it is also the sparing of potassium. Sodium channel blockers directly inhibit the entry of sodium into the sodium channel. Okay, so let's see what the metabolism it will stand for it. So we know that the drug has to undergo two phase metabolisms. One is nothing but phase 1 and phase 2 transformations. So triamterene undergo phase 1, so in which it's subjected for hydroxylation to get a 4 hydroxy triamterene. Okay, this 4 hydroxy triamterene here. So here let's draw. So the triamterene, so our triamterene phase 1 hydroxylation, what it's going to generate now, 4 hydroxy 4 hydroxy triamterene 4 hydroxy triamterene. So these on further transformation in phase 2, we are going to generate a 4 hydroxy triamterene 4 hydroxy triamterene sulfate 4 hydroxy triamterene sulfate. So this is about the entire molecule we are going to generate, 4 hydroxy triamterene sulfate. So this entire thing is going to retain the activity. Triamterene phase 1 hydroxylation, 4 hydroxy triamterene phase 2 transformation, 4 hydroxy triamterene sulfate, which retain a diuretic activity. So this is about the entire metabolism of triamterene. So now let's see what's the uses it will have. The uses, if you see, so it's used for treatment of edema because the fluids is going to remove from the body. Then apart from that, liver and heart diseases, so it is a water pill, so that given as a water pill classification, diuretic classification. If you see the side effect, dizziness, headache, tiredness, okay, headache followed by stomach upset or diarrhea may occurs. They given if you feel the drug intake, so in such a way you should not get up very fast. You have to make it very slowly. Okay, slowly you have to rise and you have to take your position. Okay, triamterene can also lose of too much body water and salt minerals. That's why we have to go and giving advice, so to take intake of excess fluids while taking a triamterene. Then apart from that, what we'll have the mannitol. See the mannitol, it resembles almost a simple sugar molecule that will have a 6 carbon atom. It is in a hexane. Okay, so to this hexane we'll have the 6 hydroxyl group. Okay, so if you draw the structure, how it's going to resemble as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 here. At both the ends we have the hydroxyl group. Then here, so hydroxyl. Then here wedge bond, we are going to see the wedge bond hydroxyl. Here also the wedge bond hydroxyl. Then followed by dotted hydroxyl here. Okay, so totally we have almost 6 hydroxyl group. If you see the IUPAC name, here we have the stereochemistry they given as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So 2, we have the hydroxyl group, the stereochemistry is R, that indicates it's a rectus 2 or 3 or 4 R and 5 R. So each and everything given as R. R indicates R equal to a rectus. That means you are going to see this group of rotation in a clockwise manner. So the rotation is in a clockwise manner. If you see the IUPAC name 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 R followed by hexane, then position of the hydroxyl group as 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5, so totally comma 6. So we have 6 now, it will becomes the hexanol. So this is about the IUPAC name of mannitol. Mannitol is a type of sugar alcohol used as a sweetener and medication. We know that it is a sweetener for the supplement of diabetic foods, diabetic patients, in which it is poorly absorbed by the intestine. As a medication, it is used to treat so glaucoma in eyes and to lower intracranial pressure. Okay, so otherwise a fluid buildup in the brain, it's going to remove very effectively. So let's see the mechanism what it's going to say. So what's the mechanism it's going to say here? Mannitol mannitol as a diuretic. Mannitol induces diuretics because it is not reabsorbed in the renal tubule. It's well and good. So thereby it's going to increase the osmolality of the glomerular filter rate, facilitating excretion of the water and inhibiting the renal tubular reabsorption of sodium chloride and other solute. This is a very very important aspect of mannitol. Apart from that, so it's going to remove the toxic materials, okay, that build up in the urine excretion. So that's going to prevent the nephron from toxicity, nephrotoxicity. So thereby we are going to eliminate all the toxins, okay, that build up in the tubulars. If you see the metabolism, it's going to transform into an glycogen in the liver. Mannitol is going to slightly metabolize to an glycogen. Okay, so let's see the uses of mannitol. Mannitol is used to reduce actually raised intracranial pressure. Okay, so where the fluids is going to accumulate, so it can be removed very easily. That happen oftenly in head trauma. It may also be used for certain cases of kidney failure with low urine output, decrease the pressure in eyes, to increase the elimination of certain toxins, so used for nephrotoxin. To prevent the nephrotoxicity, it can be used and to treat the fluid buildup in the body. So these are all the major uses of